Okay, we are live. I didn't get a countdown to go.
I
didn't get the countdown to go.
It's all right.
You know what? First episode. Got to work out the kinks. Got to work out the kinks. I already see Kelly Drew Voss is in the
Kelly.
Oh. There we go. Okay. All right. All right. So it's just checking
somewhere around here.
I'm checking the status to see.
You're live.
Yeah, it's not showing up on one of my devices, but that's okay. That is okay. Oh, here we go. All right. Welcome to the pilot episode of Coffee Time with Ryzak and Jeff. We don't know what we're doing. When he thought of this the other day,
we said, "Hey, let's just turn the camera on and start talking."
I got to work on the intro. Got to work on at least having a countdown for it.
Well, we got to have a few. We got to have a few shots of us next to each other for the intro.
Sure, I could have put a 30-second countdown in, but anyways.
I mean, we could have just thrown in like childhood pictures of us, I guess.
Anyways, so we got things to talk about. What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about sports. We are going to talk about sports, but we're not going to call ourselves a sports show and only talk NFL. No, we're not. We are going to talk all sports, including next week. I will be talking sailing because I love the Canadian sailing team. They're not doing as great as they started off the season, but we're going to talk about that next week. Next week, we're also going to talk XFL. But today, before we get into tomorrow is the biggest sporting event in the world. The biggest that anyone cares about. Let me just put it that way. The biggest sporting event that anyone cares about is tomorrow. But in case you guys didn't hear, yesterday, now you guys have these F-22 Raptors that you guys were doing nothing with. In 2 weeks, they've been shooting shit down. There was a balloon. I believe that was just from a kid's party, but whatevs. He shot down. And then yesterday in Alaska, they shot down somewhere else. Now, we're not going to talk about it because we don't have time for that. But just go and look on Google. Or on the Twitters. Go and take a look. And that town in Alaska is true. You want to know more? Crazy. You want to know more about it? You guys go and make sure you subscribe to the mothership with Sierra, William, and the Monkster. They will talk more about this event because I was talking to them about it. Well, Lo-Fi about it last night. So That is a real town in your country. Right back. In Alaska. Alaska is your country. We didn't want it.
Greatest country in the world that doesn't know that it's not that great.
Mm-hmm.
But we're great. We're just not that great.
It is true. It is all true. So, Super Bowl tomorrow. It's just Joe is here saying good morning, gentlemen.
Joe, what's up, dude? Super Bowl is tomorrow, Jeff. Your team is not in it, and I don't have a team anymore. So who are you rooting for? That's what I got to know.
Well, of course, I can't root for the Eagles. There is no way in hell can I root for the Eagles. Now, here is my problem. You have
a lot of problems, Jeff. You've limited it to just one.
I have, because I need the graphic. Hold on. Where's my stupid graphic? Hold on. These things are way too, I need large icons. Where is my graphic? Is it this one? Let me throw that one up there.
Are you allowed to root for a team that's not only in your division, but in your conference?
Of course I can.
You just won't.
I rooted for the Rams last year because they were in my conference.
So you'll toe the line at divisional opponent. You're not going to root for.
Correct.
Okay.
Here is my problem.
Understandable. I get it.
Here is my problem. It's the MVP curse. Here is my problem. Oops, wrong one. Here we go. Here's my problem. The MVP curse. So we're going to talk about the NFL honors in a second. But MVP, in case you didn't hear, Patrick Mahomes won the MVP. Here are the last 9 reigning MVPs who played in the Super Bowl, and they all lost.
And they were all on the cover of Madden. at some point in time.
I don't think Peyton Manning was. Pretty sure Rich Gannon wasn't.
Rich Gannon was on. Sean Alexander was definitely on. He was on like
Sean Alexander was.
He was like 2004, 2005.
Well, that was the year he won MVP. So, anyways, these are a lot of repeat names. This is my problem. Of course, I'm cheering for the Chiefs. But this is the problem. Also, Patrick Mahomes led the league in passing, and no player who's led the league in passing has won the Super Bowl. So there is a number of strikes against Mr. Mahomes that not a lot of monkeys he's going to have to break. Of course, everybody knows the script has been released, having the Eagles winning.
Did Arian Foster approve it?
I assume he did. I do not know the I don't know the script approval process. Now, I have heard that was just there is alternate endings. With TV shows, they always do, in movies they do alternate endings. So maybe there's an alternate ending we don't know about. So that is it.
I look at this list right here, and it's got some phenomenal names on it, right? And I can almost think back to those seasons that they had, especially Cam's season, because the Panthers were just on another level, right? And on defense, they had Josh Norman, who was being all loud and everything. This is before I moved to Carolina. But it's crazy because you think about that Super Bowl that he was in, and what happened that entire Super Bowl. He was just consistently and continuously crushed by the defensive line. I think he was sacked more in that game than at any point in that season. It just completely flipped on them, and they did not look like the team that got to the Super Bowl. So funny that you bring this up, because I can think back to a lot of these games.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So there's a number of monkeys that he will have to break in order to win.
So he won the MVP this year, right? You just mentioned that. You're concerned about him in the Super Bowl because of the MVP curse. But was the MVP warranted for Mr. Mahomes this year? He loses Tyreek Evans. He loses his starting running back, or Tyreek Hill. Sorry, loses his starting running back there for a little bit, but he always had Kelsey, right?
Always had Kelsey. Had that defense.
Threw for over 5,000 yards. I mean, he obviously spread the ball around. Won big games. Took him to the Super Bowl.
Lost some interesting games.
It checks all the boxes, right? Checks all the boxes.
Maybe got a little help in the championship game. Maybe he flopped. Maybe he flopped. Maybe he didn't at the end of that game. Well,
there were some good candidates, and the one thing that I struggle with when it comes to the awards, for whatever award it is just what is the criteria? What's the criteria for the award? Because a lot of people will throw in like scenarios that happened throughout the course of the season. Oh, well, he didn't have Tyreek Hill. Oh, well, he didn't have his running, but he had to do that much more, right? That defense played really great at times. Chris Jones was a, candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. It's not like they're slouches on that side of the ball. So it's a whole team game. Was he the most valuable player? You could make an argument for his team, but in the league as a whole, I think it was evident as soon as Jalen Hurts went down how important he was to his team this year. Because Minshew couldn't recreate that same vibe, and they're just such a dangerous team with him at the helm. So it's going to be a good Super Bowl for sure.
Oh yeah.
But don't want to discredit Pat Mahomes. He had fantastic numbers, right?
Oh yeah, and of course everybody
criteria.
Oh yeah, and when we talk about the Cowboy victory over Philadelphia, they're like, well, they didn't have Jalen Hurts, and I went, well, but we put 40 points on them. So how would Jalen? Please explain to me how he in the game, Cowboy hater, would have helped not score 40 points. So the Philadelphia defense has holes, can be exploited. I think it's going to be a good game.
They're tough up front. They're tough up front. So we'll see. I'm interested to see how big of a game Kelsey has, but I think it's going to take one of the receivers. I think it's either going to take Juju or it's going to take the other receiver that they had gotten from Green Bay. Was it Hardman? Mercole Hardman? No, he was already there.
He was already there.
Gosh, why can't I think of the guy's name? Because I'm on the spot right now and you got me live. That's exactly why.
It's no big deal.
He was Marquez Van Scantling.
MVS. MVS.
Yeah, MVS. There you go.
We just call him VS. His name's too hard to
just
remember.
Call him VS in the
MVS.
hood.
MVS. It's got to be. It's got to be TLA.
I want to see one of those guys have a big game.
It's going to be a good.
And then there's always special teams you got to consider in the Super Bowl, because special teams can change the Super Bowl like that.
So it's not in our show notes. I'm going off the board. The Pro Bowl was last weekend, and I actually enjoyed it for the first time in a number of years. Everybody, I know there are other sports shows that like, we don't cover the Pro Bowl. Sucks. But I actually thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thought the players were more engaged in the flag football game than they ever have been in the actual real game. Especially when they altered the rules, the official flag rules, for this, and then there was some controversy that they didn't follow the official flag rules, and so Peyton was quite upset, especially at the end of the game, and so they were really getting into it. His brother is an idiot and still looks like an idiot. He's like, should we call a play? Should we got plays on a sheet? Anyways,
I like him because he's so awkward.
That's not why I bring it up. My favorite, and they did this a couple of years ago, and I wish they did it every year, and I hope they do, was the tic-tac-toe kicking, like the special teams doing the tic-tac-toe, where you had the long snapper, you had the punter, and then you had the kicker trying to do tic-tac-toe, and they did that a couple of years ago. And I thought
that's what I always loved. I always loved when they like honed in on what each of their individual skills were, right? And they did those competitions, and Joe has got a note there in the chat.
Joe's got a note saying that he thought the NFL Pro Bowl better than the NHL skills competition.
Oh my God.
You're this way. Todd's an NHL guy. I'm a Canadian guy, so you think I would be a hockey guy, but I'm just saying. So, it
was brutal. I don't even know that I can think of one good thing that happened during that skills competition, if that's what you want to call it. I don't know. Did you watch it, Jeff? You probably watched the Pro Bowl, and I probably watched that. Yeah. So I did not watch the
skill
Pro
stuff
Bowl.
Was on the Friday night when I was streaming.
Yeah, so. I missed that because we talked that night, and then I was like, "When is that?" And you were like, "It was tonight." I said, "What? I missed it." So I did go back and watch highlights of it, which was pretty cool. Derek Carr, I thought his interview was pretty funny. But the NHL skills competition, they start off with the fastest skater. They had them go around, each of them go around one time and get their score, and then they paused that for like an hour. They put it on the shelf. They didn't advance, and then they brought out something else, but. They brought out like another thing, which was this trick competition that they did. I guess they did it the year before too. So the player has to dress up in a theme, and they have to like act it out. It's all about like being creative. And the first one was Mitch Marner, and it was just brutal. It was awful. He tried to do a Miami Vice thing. PK Subban
what team does he play on?
The Maple Leafs.
Okay, just checking.
PK Subban was trying so hard, but my gosh, it was just brutal. And so they just did Mitch Marner's, and then they went to something else, and it was like, are we ever going to finish one of these competitions, man? Like, come on. So it just didn't keep you entertained. It did not keep you engaged. And I grew up, Steve Levy, you're an ESPN watcher. Steve Levy was like the voice of playoff hockey for me when I was a kid. I was a Rangers fan when I was a kid. Mark Messier and Adam Graves and Kevin Leach and Mike Richter. Like, it was just cool. Ken Lowe was their defenseman when, like, at the end of his career, and it's my last name, right? So I was like, oh, that's cool. He's got my last name. That's how I started watching them, and then I got to know about Messier and all these other guys because the early '90s were great for the Rangers, right? So it was cool. But anyway, Steve Levy, I used to listen to him all the time, listen to those playoffs. And so when the Canes were in the playoffs a few years ago and ESPN was covering, Steve Levy was doing the voiceover, and it just like brought me back to this nostalgism of being a kid. Right.
Sure.
But the more I listen to him now that I'm over that, I'm like, dude I need somebody else, man. They're so dry. Their their commentary of hockey is so freaking dry. It's just awful. It's awful to watch. So anyway, I agree with you, Joe. It was brutal. It was terrible.
Well, there you go. There you go. Thursday night, for those that missed it, because apparently a lot of people did, the Hall of Fame inductees were announced. And here they are. Here are your Hall of Fame inductees. Yes, Rondé Barber's on there twice because that was where the information was. It was a bad edit from somebody. I took this from somebody else, and it was their mistake, and I forgot to fix it. So DeMarcus Ware, Chuck Howley, 2 Cowboys on there.
Who? Okay, so some of the guys down at the bottom, I had to look up. I'm not going to lie to you, but at least from the guys up top. Okay, the guys up top. Who is the most deserving of the guys up top there?
Oh, DeMarcus Ware, 100%.
DeMarcus Ware, because he was a Cowboy.
Of course. I don't think Rondé should be there.
I agree with you.
And if you're going to put Zach Thomas in there, because there's somebody else who's got almost identical stats who did not make it. So, yeah.
I think the one that stands out to me is Darrelle Revis.
He had to be.
Darrelle Revis was definitely one that needed to be on this list this year.
100%.
The other ones, I think there's some other long-standing Hall of Fame inductee candidates that probably deserve their chance finally, right? We talked about one last night, Devin Hester. I think that's been a big miss for him, but it's special teams, right?
It is.
That's all you're talking about is special teams. So
it is.
So yeah, that was announced last night. So that's exciting for those guys. Have you ever seen those videos when they show up to let them know that they're getting inducted?
All the time.
Yeah, it's awesome to see the players how much they haven't
released. They'll release them all on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yep.
They'll release them all on Super Bowl Sunday.
I like them getting Calvin Johnson last year. It's just it's humbling for them. It's I could never imagine what that feels like to know all that time you put into something, and those guys are broken by the end, right? Like,
yep. Should have brought this up before I inverted the topics, but that's okay.
It's all right.
Pilot episode. These are your MVP, your players of the year.
Yep, and the awards, NFL awards.
Awards. Yeah, 2 Jets.
5,000.
My Jets loving son and producer. Big fan. So glad that 2 Jets got picked.
Sauce had an unbelievable year. I mean, stats sometimes don't speak to the impact that a player has. I want to say that somewhere in the middle of the season, they were saying usually when you're a lockdown corner, they don't throw your way, and they track that, right? But they were still attacking him, and he hadn't let a reception in like 3.5 games or something like that at some point during the year. That's incredible for a veteran, let alone a rookie cornerback.
That is correct.
Sauce had an awesome year.
He did. Gino, and of course, in the defensive player of the year, Nick won. Shout out to Ray. He's happy about that. And of course, everyone's, all the Cowboy haters crawl out of the woodwork whenever there's negative Cowboy news. And of course, Micah Parsons got no first place votes. So, I'm like, really? So he had 0 impact on the team. So you're saying he had 0 impact, him being on the field. Okay. What about all the other sacks by other people? Because they were double teaming him. Because he plays everywhere, but whatever, Cowboy haters.
But this is what I'm talking about with the what is the criteria for the award, right? Because Nick Bosa obviously went to the NFC Championship game with his team, right? They finished 12-4, 13-4.
Yep.
Great year. But when I compare stats, like if we're going off of stats, Sauce has better stats. You take the sacks, and there's the pass deflections, the 2 interceptions to the 2 forced fumbles, 24 assist tackles, 51 solo.
I know.
So I just don't know what the criteria is. I think that's, they do it by the writers and what the writers think, and they write about these teams all season long, and they just get latched on to people. I think that's really what it is.
D'Amico Ryans is the new head coach of Houston
Texans. That's awesome for him since he started his career there.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be very nervous about taking that job because they're like they're the one and dones. They give a guy a year.
Well, it depends. It
it's
depends on what they've said to him.
Hi, thanks for being a driver in our race. Here's a Fiat. Go against the Ferraris. Oh, you didn't win any. You didn't win. Well, you suck. You must be a bad driver. Get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, the biggest prize of the evening had to go to my quarterback.
Look at your Walter Payton Man of the Year. Look at that smile right there. Look at him gazing into the crowd, looking for Jeff.
About 10 o'clock, they brought all 32 guys on the stage, and I texted my Cowboy hating buddy, and I said, Dak Prescott is the best player in the league, and Walter Payton Man of the Year, blah, 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 just to troll him, because I knew he never pays attention, and days later, he will come back and say, your Cowboys did this. I'm like, dude, that was days ago, but whatever. And then, of course, then he won, and I literally had tears, and then I was grabbing all my graphics and sending them over to him. Because I'm a hater. I'm a hater of the haters.
I don't like to. I don't have to like players when they're in their uniforms, right? And it's all in good jest, right? It's not like I hate people. That's the tribalism of sports, right? We root for our team, we root for our players. Don't hurt our guys. Don't talk bad about them, right?
Yep. Is Ray your favorite Cowboy fan? Ray is my favorite fan of all time.
You've got to appreciate when people are highlighted for just good things, right? No matter who you are, no matter where it is. These players, a majority of them put a ton of time and resource into charity, into cleaning up the areas where they work and live. And it's cool for him to get that, especially with his mom, the story with his mom.
Yeah.
It was nice to see him emotional on the stage. And
we'll come back to Joe. I was not informed about this, and I'm disturbed. Yes, this was a last-minute thing we decided basically at 9:30 last night, and you were gone to bed. However, to go back to the beginning of the stream, I mentioned this to your co-host on the mothership. Gave you guys a shout-out earlier. William, you might want to go Google Alaska and UFOs because there was a big UFO.
There's a certain town.
In Alaska, a UFO was shot down yesterday afternoon.
It's not go away town, but it's.
And there was a press conference big press conference from them. So there you go. But Joe had a really good.
Joe had on my shirt. This is Rage. This way, Rage Against the Machine.
We're gonna come back to that. We call that foreshadowing, folks. We call that foreshadowing. Thoughts on TB12 is on their talent. I disagree with the Fox executives. The number one team, Kevin Burkhardt, is a solid talent. I could listen to him. There's two guys I really like calling games. Kevin Burkhardt calls a solid game. Now in baseball, Matt Transurjan, love him. He calls an amazing game. Love him. When he does, because again, we get a lot of the international. He does a lot of the games that we get covered up here. So Matt Transurjan, love him.
I swear, Jeff, if you tell me that you like Joe Buck, I'm done.
Well, I like his Hall of Fame co-host. I like his Hall of Fame. I like his color guy.
But I love the trend recently of catching these guys saying things bad and then clipping them together to make it sound inappropriate.
Yeah. So back to Joe. Greg Olson's got to go. Greg Olson's got to go. Just get rid of. He's part of the number one team. He's going to be back for yet another year. But Greg Olson has to go. I don't know how Tom's going to do. Everybody had questions about Tony, Mr. Anthony Romo, but he dove in there and he's awesome. All right. There's some rumors of stuff with Tony right now, but we'll ignore that. But his first couple of years, when he's out there, reading the defense and calling the plays, and he goes, he should audible into a run, and then they audible into a run, is amazing. How's Tom going to do? I don't know. I haven't heard. You don't hear Tom talk a lot. He posts a lot of.
He does his little videos, right?
Oh, are we going to get on the posting pictures in our underwear trend? All right,
hold on. I'm this is off script real quick, Jeff. I just got to bring this up, okay? There's a female adult star by the name of Brandy Love. You may know her, you may not. She's everyone's favorite mom, right? But she actually like tried to thirst trap Tom Brady, when the news was coming down, like if he was getting separated, like, come see me, right? And then afterwards he posts this picture like that. I'm thinking that there's going to be a little bit more of this coming, buddy. I'm here for it. Look, I like watching men, wallow in their midlife crises. This is it's great.
I asked a friend of mine, I said, is this a trend I should jump on? And her reply was, did you just retire from the NFL?
Do it.
No.
Do it. I think you should get into a line of loincloths.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go. So
I don't know about Tom. I don't know about Tom. I hope that if Tom takes it serious, he's getting paid a lot of money, right? He's getting paid a lot of money. He's got a really big head because he's the GOAT and the whole nine, right? If Tom takes it serious and Tom actually talks football and Tom doesn't make it too fake, then I could see Tom being really good at it. But
full disclosure, I do not listen to his show that he does on Sirius XM on Mondays with Brandon Marshall, and the other guy whose name is escaping me at the moment. But he does the.
I can see his face. He was an Eagle.
Yeah, does the Sirius thing on Sirius XM thing or whatever it's called now. That's what it's called in Canada. But I don't listen to it, so I'm never in my car, and that's the only place I have it. Yeah, I could get the app. Yeah, I could listen online. Yes, I can listen to all my Google devices. That I have a Google device in every house. I understand all of that, people, but I just don't. Although I do sometimes we'll throw on Mad Dog, the Mad Dog channel, when I'm in the car, when I'm not listening to the 80s hair bands, when I'm not listening to hair band radio. Shout out to
Jeff. I really want to see you with like a 1986 Chevy Camaro with like the T-tops out or something.
Oh, maybe next week I'll crack out the Led Zeppelin classic shirt and headband. They're in that room. They're in that room right there. William said. What did William say? He said they reported it as a weather balloon, and he chuckled. I heard it was the size of a car. That's a big ass weather balloon. I heard it was the size of a.
I heard it was a Bob's Big Boy.
I'm in Canada. I don't know what that is.
You don't know? You've never seen Austin Powers? Movie Austin Powers, where the Bob's Big Boy statues.
Shout out to the mommy ship. The mommy ship is here. Mommy ship is here in the house. Ship. No, I go from what happened to Joe?
I was going to say
walking out the white snake in the teapot.
I can totally see it. Just got the arm up,
Yeah. I got my Led. I could dig out the Led Zeppelin shirt and headband.
Popping the cassette tape in.
Maybe when I take a video for Raymond Sherrod of me drinking milk and pouring it out of my jug of bagged milk. Maybe I will do it in my. Maybe I will do it in my. Maybe I'll do it in that shirt. So since we're just to finish off the NFL topics,
Jeff, there was a couple of people in these awards this year, leading you to speculate about something for the preseason next year. What?
Oh yeah, some of us in the community, we've been yapping. The Hall of Fame game that happens in August could be the Cowboys versus the Jets, because there's 2 Cowboys and 2 Jets on the roster, so that would be fun. And
do you think that is a privilege to play in the Hall of Fame game?
I do, because you get to go tour the Hall of Fame. Because
it's an extra game, right? That means you get 5 preseason games.
No, there's only 3 now,
or 3. So you would get 4, right? Because the Hall of Fame's an extra one.
Correct, but the guys playing are guys that never make the first cut. So the guys that play in that game are the guys that unfortunately, will be moving to the XFL, NFL, or XFL and USFL, and arena football is coming back. But we will talk about that on a future show.
NFL teams need to get my guy Brian Cobbs. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, good luck with that. Well, he wasn't in any of the other He wasn't in the other, to my knowledge. I didn't see him in the other events.
He's working out. He's working out. He's working hard. Good. He's getting those visits behind the scenes. That's all that matters, right?
That is all that matters.
As soon as you get your opportunity, you can shine. What about that guy that who was that guy a couple years ago that snuck into the Browns training camp? Massaquoi?
Oh yeah, there's lots of, and even if he doesn't get drafted, you know what? It's not a big. It's not.
Let me ask you a question, Jeff.
All right, final NFL conversation. Then we're going to move on to something else.
Did you did you go to the NFL draft combine?
I did not.
Did you say that you were eligible for the draft?
I did not.
I didn't either. So definitely doing better than us.
It is true. It is true. There's not a lot of Canadians, and it's always a struggle to find the Canadians that are going to these events. NFL Canada does a piss poor job, and I've talked to them, and I said, you guys should do this more. And they're like, that's a great idea, and they just don't. So last topic on the NFL before we move on. These are the guys. These are the first-time eligibles next year.
Anaheim Ducks. What the? Sorry, Jeff. Yes. Okay.
I'd love to see the Seabass, even though he was a Raider.
He was electric when he came into the NFL, right? Like, just such a cool story.
So
beer guzzling John Daly of a left-footed Russian kicker.
Yeah. These are these are the guys.
Of these guys, I mean, none of them made it, this time. Who on
no,
here
these are no. These are the first-time eligibles next year.
Oh, for next year. That's right. Okay. So who do you think on this list could go next year? Just one guy. I know who I have.
Probably Halali Nada. Probably. I like to say Andrew Luck, but it might be him. Or maybe Brandon Marshall, Eric Berry, maybe Antonio Gates, maybe Julius Peppers.
Yeah,
but Haloti.
I think it's got to be one of the top two there.
Haloti.
I like Haloti. I like Haloti a lot. I wasn't. You said it, and it just like kind of popped into my head there. But Peppers had such a great career, and Gates. Gates really with like Tony Gonzalez and Gates, they really revolutionized Witten. They really revolutionized that tight end position. I think
they did. But you know what? They didn't win. They didn't win a Super Bowl.
And there you go. What are we measuring, right? What's
but then Dan Marino got in. He never won a Super Bowl either.
True. So I mean, Andrew Luck didn't play a full career.
So
he played what, 6 years, 7 years?
So there you go.
He didn't win.
I know. So yeah. Well, what can I say?
Cool.
When we talked about this, I said, dude, we can't just talk sports.
No,
because it's coffee talk. We can't just talk sports.
This is just like the Discord chat in the mornings.
I do want to bring this up. This is a fun story that I don't think got a lot of press, and not enough press. So in the MVP voting, you vote for 5 guys. You get five positions. Everybody, you get points, and that's how they come up with the winner. Susie Kolber, who is a sideline reporter for Monday Night Football, who was on the sidelines in Cincinnati the night that Damar Hamlin had his incident. She gave a 1/5 place vote for Denny Kellington, who was the Bills. He's the Bills guy who did CPR. He was the first one out there. He did CPR and saved his life. So as she says here, it was a symbolic gesture for everybody carrying the weight of the job. So as a symbolic gesture, and it didn't affect anything. It did not not change any outcome, a single 5th place vote, but he was in the list. And
his name is forever enshrined in that history, which is it's just cool.
Correct.
Correct. How many times do we get to hear about the trainers and the things that they do for athletes?
Nope.
That guy had a horrible incident, something that they trained for their entire lives, and he was able to quickly jump into action, calm, deliver CPR for 24 minutes.
I don't think it was that long, but
crazy.
People found out a lot of interesting things that a lot of us already knew, but they get together an hour before the game. There is this whole protocol that they go through. There was a number of ESPN shows that aired about and that talk about what goes on before a game, which I've seen, obviously. But it was good for everyone else to hear, because a lot of people go, I didn't know they did this. Oh, I didn't know they did. Yeah, they do a lot of this stuff beforehand. And hopefully it never happens. And here it happened. After I said to my producer, I said, if they had been playing the Jets, I'm pretty sure that Dr. Laurent would have ran out onto the field. As the only medical doctor in the National Football League who's a player, he would have ran out there, and he would have been like, I'm a doctor, let me in here, before the rest of the medical staff. So I'm convinced he would have ran out there to perform CPR and do what he had to do, being
I know we said we were going to move on from this, but I think this also brings to light again the decision of Myron Rolle. You remember the Samari Rolle's brother, right?
Yeah.
He left football to go back and finish his degree, and he's like a neurosurgeon, or I might be doing discredit to that, but he's a doctor now.
Yeah.
And to think about some of these guys that go through their careers and they're never the same afterwards. He was able to have enough wits about him to say, you know what, this isn't my place in life. I have a skill that in a brain that I need to give to people, and DeMar, not that his situation was of a decision like that or anything, but the fact that things can be taken, we don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know. Sorry, I don't mean to go on that route, but I think that things like this bring to light other things, decisions from the past that people question. So
I totally agree. Hang on, I'm just pulling up another graphic. So when we talked about this, I said, you know what, I don't want to talk. I could talk sports all day, as you know.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't want to talk sports all day. I said I want to talk other topics. So we're going to talk other topics. We are moving on from we're not moving on from sports. We're going to bounce back with some hockey in a minute. But I wanted to bring up this because you're wearing the shirt. The 2023 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees were announced.
Nominees.
Kate Bush, Sheryl Crow, Missy Elliott, Iron Maiden, Joy Division / New Order, Cyndi Lauper, George Michael, Willie Nelson. Thought he'd be ineligible because of tax fraud, but whatever. Rage Against the Machine, Soundgarden, The Spinners, a Tribe Called Quest, The White Stripes, and Warren Zevon. I could have pulled up another slide that talked about the criteria. You had to be making music for 25 years and yada yada yada.
Yep.
There's a whole criteria.
And of course, there's a fan vote ballot on their website.
There is, and this list is mostly Sierra approved.
Mostly. Okay.
So, last year Judas Priest got in, you got Dolly Parton. That upset me a little because she said, I shouldn't be on this list because I'm not rock and roll. Don't vote for me. Everybody voted for her. She got in. She's like, okay, I'll go. When she said she wouldn't. So, so anyways, whatever. But Joe
says so many issues with this list and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in general. They should just call it the General Music Hall of Fame. So you had a conversation with me about that last night.
Eminem in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he's not rock and roll, but I guess if they're just going to go purely rock and roll, then they're going to run out of people very quickly. Right.
Yeah.
So
I don't disagree with that. Try to look past it. What up, rock? I try to look past it a little bit and just look at it from musical impact, right? Okay. What's our criteria again? What makes you in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? My 5 on this list. Number 1 is probably
before you think about it. If you're in the chat, give us your top 2, because you could type forever with your top 3. Everyone in the chat, if you're here, give us your top 2. I got my top 2, but let's hear yours. So I know fan voting, you get 5, but that's a lot for you guys to type on a Saturday morning. So we'll go top 2. We'll go top 2.
Yeah, you do that. We were talking last night, and I was reading through each of these groups, folks.
Okay, pick more than 2.
Kind of write-ups, right?
Yeah.
Something that was a shock to me was that, and Rock can maybe back this up since he's here. George Michael was the most listened artist on British radio until 2004. What were y'all doing? Y'all got no music over there but George Michael? Just playing. But so I thought that was fascinating because
Rock.
I don't know that I was listening to George Michael.
Beatles and the Queen are not on the list. You have to pick from this list.
Yeah, definitely. All right, my top two. The truest rock band on this list is Iron Maiden.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think that's definitely got to be number one.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Maiden made rock and roll cooler in their era, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Iron Maiden, they could switch it up. They could do a couple different genres, so I'm good with that. Second, I'm wearing the T-shirt, guys, right here. Just went and saw them a few months ago. Good to see them together again. Rage Against the Machine. And not only because they're just a badass rock group, but I don't know of one group more influential in stirring up shit in my lifetime than them. So that's who I'm going to go with for my top.
Adam Stone apparently adored George Michael.
I adored George Michael. No dissing. I'm not dissing him. I'm just like, in 2000, you were still listening to George Michael the most. That's all I'm saying. Look, I used to have faith too. All right. I used to rock my little hip out.
All right. So he's going George Michael and
Kate Bush. Okay. All right. I mean, I think that like it would be iconic for a group like the Spinners to get in, right? Because of their story and what they had to go through when they were trying to, put their music out there.
It was a lot harder.
I like a Tribe Called Quest. I love a Tribe Called Quest, but I don't know if they're better than anybody else on this list.
I've always loved Warren Zevon. Everybody knows,
Werewolf in London.
Everybody knows the one song, but he has a whole catalog of other tunes. But that nobody knows of. They only know one song from him. Obviously, my top choice is Iron Maiden. Obviously, you know what? If I in my fan vote, I will throw. But the list is not very wide. Interesting. In my fan vote, because I get 5, I'll probably go Willie Nelson. Why not? He probably and Soundgarden. Soundgarden. So. I'm not a big.
Well, I wasn't
a big grunge guy. I haven't done it yet. I haven't had time.
I'm doing it right now. I'm getting ready to hit submit. I've got Iron Maiden. I've got Rage Against the Machine. I've got.
If I had to do my top 2.
I've got the Spinners, and I've got Missy Elliott, man, because
and the White Stripes. So one of the Pipers is going with and because they're both using the same chat, so I don't know who's who anymore. But one of them is going to be that. Apparently that was Sierra. Apparently that was Sierra.
Missy Elliott.
I just didn't scroll down far enough. Joe says a Tribe Called Quest is cool, but in the rock and roll, well, same.
Yeah. See, that's what.
But you know what?
Criteria.
Eminem was in last year. Eminem made it last year.
Yeah. Well, white guy that raps, and they can put him on a rock station, Jeff.
I guess they can't really. Loads More deserve a seat. Depeche Mode, Sting, and the Police. Yeah. Again, it comes back to all these nominations. Sometimes it's just a popularity contest. When it comes down to it, it's just a popularity contest. That's why the fan vote is important. Apparently,
my son is getting ready to play lacrosse, right? So we went to go buy him a new head for his lacrosse stick. And the guys that are in there, they're, asking questions. I'm like, I don't know anything about lacrosse. I've never played it. I don't understand the rules. Like, I know that you get a net and a stick and a ball, and you got to catch it, right? Try to score a goal.
And some big fat guy in the net.
But
find the biggest fat guy possible and stick him in the net. Yep.
I had dropped
lacrosse is huge up here, by the way.
I'm a basketball guy, right? So then they go, oh, well, then great. We're going to settle this debate right now. Who's the greatest of all time? And I'm like, what's the criteria, man? What do you want to talk about? I can't wait to watch the Netflix series about Bill Russell, the two-part show. I want to watch that because if we're going off championships, it's Bill Russell, right? If we're going off accolades, it's probably Kareem. There's a whole bunch of different things. So same thing with this. I mean, like Rock said, there's a lot of people that could probably be available
Yeah.
But what's the criteria? I mean, you have somebody like Sting, right? He's been doing music for decades.
Mm-hmm.
The White Stripes, like the late 90s, early 2000s, like they sold more records than him? What's the criteria? That's the only thing I ever want to know with these things.
Yep.
All right, sorry, I'm done. I'm off.
Yeah, no, that's no. You are not wrong. Dolly Parton was last year, and she said, I'm not rock and roll. Don't vote for me. And then everyone voted for her.
She took herself out of it.
She did, and then when they voted her in, she's like, okay, I'll go.
Yeah,
because she said, I'm not going to go if I get but whatever. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. They'll announce it later in the year. I think it was November. They announced the thing. But I don't know. It cropped up in my news feed a few weeks ago, and I had never had a place to. That's what this show is. It's a place for us to talk about the stuff that never makes the light of day anywhere else. Like,
I think that we need to plan a trip not only to the Hall of Fame game, but to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because they're in the same place, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Ohio.
Canton and Cleveland. I mean, they're close.
I don't know. I don't know my Ohio geography.
Closer than Raleigh in Canada.
Did you know? What do I know? Apparently, I don't know this. Is or already has released a new rock album. I did not know that.
Because she was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, she released a rock and roll album. Is that what you're telling me? Because I'm going to go listen to this. Is this like the Vanilla Ice rock and roll album? Ice, baby!
God, I hope not.
No, I'm serious. I had it.
I do not know of the. I'm not.
Jolene.
When I get in my car, the stations that are in my presets are your got the 80s, because once in a while they play the Def Leppard, and then I've got the classic rewind. I've got classic vinyl or cassette tracks, or whatever the hell that station is called. I've got my hair bands. I got my love that.
My wife is all 80s. Of course, my kids are all the stuff of today. And then my dad was in a band when he was in high school. He played the drums. So I grew up listening to a lot of classic rock. So I pretty much listened to the classic rock station. And now that I'm getting older, which I'm sure everybody in this chat here can attest to, I'm listening to classic rock and I'm hearing songs that like I was in high school listening to on there.
Adam. He thinks he's getting older. He thinks he's old because he's like 41 or something. I'm old. I'm 41. These kids in their 40s. These kids in their 40s. Adam. These kids in their 40s who think they're old. They're like, we're getting old. These kids in their 40s.
Can't
like,
help it, Jeff.
You know what?
Man, the bones crack a little bit now.
It's so cute, Adam. These kids in their 40s think they're old.
Went to the gym the other day. Did some tricep workouts. I couldn't work out for a week. I couldn't move on.
Adam and I are just sitting here going, you kids, you guys in your 40s who think you're old.
Well, you all were there at one point and thought the same thing. So,
well, so when I was in my 40s, my brother and I, we used to rock climb, both indoor, outdoor. Although I may get back into it, but anyways, but we were climbing.
Rock climbing? You got to video yourself doing this because I love rock climbing.
Oh, I love rock climbing. I have a video. I can share it of me when I was I think it was 10 years ago when I rappelled off, because we used to go. There's a lot of outdoor stuff because there's the glaciers built these escarpments. And lots of good places to climb. But we climbed indoors, and we were I also ran the climbing club at the climbing gym. But we were climbing with a bunch of guys in their like early 20s. Well, I was like double their age. So I couldn't keep up with them in terms of endurance. I could keep up with them in terms of skill level. So I was climbing. I'm not sure if the ratings are different, but I was climbing 11s, 12s. It goes up to 13, and then you got, so I was, 2 or 3 levels from the hardest climbs. We did lead climbing. We did a whole bunch of other things. We'd lead climb outside. We'd try.
Do you do any free climbing, like 6 feet off the ground or anything like that?
No, I'm not stupid.
Yeah, I can't.
No, I'm not stupid.
I can't do that either. Okay.
When we used to climb outside, I would wear my helmet and other things. I had a buddy who didn't, and I'm like, you know what? I have two hands. If I hurt a hand, I only have one. I only have one hand. So we didn't climb a lot with him because, but then he got a helmet and he was invited back. But yeah, these kids in there, they were like 22 and, I'd be like, okay, I'm tapping out, I've hurt this or my, whatever. And they would, laugh at me, whatever. Then they would start getting 25, 27, 28. And they're like, Jeff, I hurt my shoulder and it's just not bouncing. I said, oh, you climb with that? He goes, no, my shoulder is still. I said, oh, yeah, it's not as good as it used to be, buddy? 5 years ago, you were mocking me, but now he's like, he's like, oh man, my shoulder's just not bouncing back. He's like 28 and his shoulder's not bouncing back. And I would just laugh at them because I'm like, you guys mocked me all those years when I was, I would cut.
You've seen my backyard. Right? I've showed you my backyard on video before, all those logs and stuff in the back that we started tearing down and moving. Yeah. And my wife looked at me the other day and she goes, we really need to get back to moving that stuff. And I walked out there with her and I'm looking at it. And I'm just quiet. I'm just looking at it. And she's like, what's going through your mind? And I'm like, I think I've gotten to the point in life where I just need to figure out how to pay somebody to come do this because I don't want to do it. Because I know as soon as I do, I'm going to be sore as shit the next day. Like I'm always trying to save money. Like I've always done things by myself with my hands. Like that's just how my job has always been. I mean, I built my desk. I build everything around here, right? Did our bathroom. I've showed you that. Like, but I'm always struggling afterwards, man. Like when we moved into this house, I threw my back out. I was down for like a month and a half. and it was just, when you sit there and then it's like, if I just didn't do that one more, or like if I just would have asked for help for that, like I'm so stubborn because I think I can do it all. Yeah. So I looked at it last night and I was like, look, I've got to start being a little bit smarter about this stuff or else I'm going to wind up like my dad. My dad's had what? He's had 3 shoulder replacement surgeries and he only has 2 shoulders. He's had 3 heart attacks. One of them, they brought him back from flatline, right? He's got both of his knees replaced. He's got a plethora of other issues, but it's like, he just didn't take care of himself. He just always no matter if he was sore, no matter if he was hurting, like the job had to get done. We had to do what we had to do. And so he's pushed, but
yeah, shout out to William. He had some dental attacking in his mouth yesterday. He probably should have gone to a surgeon, but doctor did it himself. So
I apologize for being a little bit rougher than usual, Will.
Oops, that was wrong. That was the wrong one. Careful. Adam Stone says he's had a shoulder issue for 6 months.
It sucks. And I can imagine like a shoulder issue, not only from just like lifting, right? Like even just getting the grocery bags, right? But then laying down at night, not being able to get comfortable. I sleep with my arm up sometimes. Like I don't know. I can't take that chance anymore. You gotta be smart.
One of the things we talked about when we first decided to do this is we were going to keep it to an hour. Sometimes you spill over, whatever. So we have one final topic to discuss.
That's it, baby. Right there. Next,
as I said, we talk all sports. Next week we're going to talk XFL. We're going to talk sailing. Here we are back to talking hockey. The Stadium Series, not Stadia. Rest in peace.
Not Stadia. Even though Stadium means stadium, right? But this is important to me, right? Because this is my squad and my old squad. It's not really my old squad, but I used to live in the Washington D.C. area. I grew up around the Capitals. Grew up watching Ovi when he was a rookie sensation, and just heard a ton about that dude throughout his career. So this is a cool series for me and my family.
Joe's throwing shade. So you remember this when the Bruins get kicked out of the playoffs in the first round?
You know what's crazy is that Joe called me out on Twitter about the Hurricanes and the Bruins playing the other night, but when I sent him back the final score, he didn't respond.
Oh.
I don't know what that was about. Maybe he was busy.
Maybe. Well, he's developing like 8 games at the same time now. So
it's true.
Like every week he's developing a new game. So
fantastic job.
We didn't even get to talk about the Nintendo thing and the Nintendo games coming, but that's okay. Next week.
What next time? This game is going to be outside. It's going to be played in a football stadium, the North Carolina State University football stadium. Go Wolfpack! It is in the parking lot of the Hurricanes Arena, but it's going to be very cool because it's going to be outside. It's going to be at night. It's at 8 p.m. It'll be on ABC. And it's next Saturday. So next Saturday morning, Jeff, when we talk, we'll have to check in on anything that's happened throughout the week. But
yeah,
I'm excited for this. It's going to be great for our area too.
Don't forget, I live in Canada. All our hockey is outdoors. Yeah. All our hockey is outdoors.
Well, I mean, Jeff, it was 74 degrees here yesterday. So you tell me how an outdoor game is supposed to happen here. Wow. It's crazy. Like I was going to get pictures pulled together from the Twitter pages, but they've built like this whole platform in the middle of the field, and underneath of it, they have a whole cooling system. They had to because we don't know what our weather is going to be like. So
they've done some games. Didn't they do a game in Boston, an outdoor game like Fenway or something?
They did Fenway, yeah.
Didn't they do
and it was snowing, I believe, wasn't it, Joe, during the game?
Didn't they?
They did the one at the National Stadium. And this isn't to be confused with the Winter Classic. The Winter Classic is something that is different than the Stadium Series, but they're both outside, right? What was the outdoor one? I want to say it was a year or two ago. Was it up in Vancouver or was it in Edmonton? And it just looked so freaking cold outside. Like that looked like the most awesome hockey to watch. Yeah. But anyway.
So there you go. How do you think the ice is going to hold up in that North Carolina? It's take a lot of cooling.
They're calling for a possible chance of snow here on Monday, although it's only showing 34 degrees. And it was, like I said, 74 yesterday. Our weather down here has amnesia. It's on crack. So, look, it could be a lot worse, right? We could have negative 30 like Sierra and William, but
they should do more games in North Dakota. That would be.
North Dakota is a huge hockey state. North Dakota University is one of the best hockey programs in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah. Now my son's all, I want to go to Penn State. I want to go to the University of Minnesota. I'm like, dude, just calm down. Please.
No Canada on the no Canadians on that list.
Not on that one there. No
Canadians want to come to your kids. Don't want
the Rangers made a huge trade with Tarasenko. He scored his first goal last night with them. They play the Canes tonight. It's going to be a big game. Just love this time of year. All right, let's.
Love my Raptors, as you guys know. I love my Raptors, but my Western Conference team is the Cubes and the Mavericks. So I was glad Kyrie went there.
Jeff, we didn't even talk about the NBA trades.
I know. I know. We wasted too much time on football. We fell in the football trap, and we talked.
We did.
Luckily, football's over, and we can talk about some other stuff. Yeah, we got the draft coming up. We got XFL. We got other stuff.
Shout out to Hayfield Secondary School, undefeated last year, state champions. Only one loss so far this year. My buddy Carlos Poindexter is leading that team to greatness, and a lot of the kids are getting college offers, which is beautiful to see as a coach. So, I want to give my old alma mater high school and my good friend Carlos Poindexter big shout out. Hayfield,
that's his name.
Secondary Athletics, the Hawks. Go Hawks!
That's his name, Poindexter.
Yeah, Carlos Poindexter. You can look him up.
Oh, no, it's fine. I was just gonna make fun of him.
No, he's amazing. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Does he wear a beanie with a thing on his
head? Jeff, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be fun.
We're gonna do this. So sorry, we said we're just gonna surprise people and just go live and see what happens. We did not. We didn't do a lot of pre-planning. A lot of this was last night. A lot of the graphics we just whipped up last night and this morning.
I'm a cardboard cutout.
And we just decided to, like an hour before the show, I was still in bed. It's like, oh crap! I guess I got to get up. And I gotta shower. And I gotta make myself look beautiful. And
my daughter's on her way to her ID camp, so I kicked the girls out, and this is it. We're here.
And so, what else are you doing this week? You were killing it with the videos.
I don't know if I would say I'm killing it, but I'm putting them out. So
putting them out. You got to do
playing a game called Retro Bowl. It's on mobile and Nintendo Switch. I love it. It reminds me of the old classic, Tecmo Bowl, and there's like a season to it, and you can trade and draft players and stuff. So it's just really cool. So I've been playing a season playthrough of that. Hot Wheels is on Xbox Game Pass now, so love that because I was really excited for that on Stadia before Stadiumageddon.
Yep.
We've got sport tryouts happening for our kids next week. Bye, bud. So pretty soon here, I'll be doing the announcements for my daughter's soccer team. We're going to start putting together some content around that as well. Bought microphones to mic up the girls on the field during warmups, and my wife's going to go down on the field and videotape them while I'm announcing them. And so we're going to put together clips of all their games and do cool stuff for them. And then the biggest thing for me right now is get my son through hockey season. He's got playoffs coming up, and trying to get my daughter, seen for college soccer. She's a junior in high school, right? I put a video out of her Disney Classic Showcase that she was in, but she's only got about an 8-month period here to really hammer this down and figure out what she wants to do and get some offers. So she's off to an ID camp at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte this weekend.
Go Duke!
They are the 49ers.
Go Duke!
They will be happy about that. But
go Duke!
Hopefully get down there and have a good weekend and impress the coaches and have some conversations with them, because we love our kids, right? We think our kids are the greatest, but
my kids are useless. My kids are tools. Some of you guys know my kids. Big ol' Mac. My kids. My
games like Darkanian or Tarkanian.
My kids are tools. Most of you guys know Big ol' Mac. He's a tool.
Big ol' Mac.
Yeah,
Jeff, what are you up to? We had a good time playing Hot Wheels the other night.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that again. I might have a surprise game. I got to work this out with Crow Resin. We talked about it a little bit last night, so stay tuned for my Monday night community play. I think I'm gonna purchase that game and finally get into that with you and Crow. I miss playing with Crow. I have not. It's been running out of games to play with Crow Resin. They all keeps getting shut down. All the game, they keep getting shut down on us. So, I think we're gonna put that in. There is no Sunday nights. I'm gonna be doing some Switch games, but not this Sunday because obviously the Super Bowl. Tonight,
Retro Bowl, Jeff.
Tonight, Ray's doing Wreckfest. Ray 3473. I'll be joining him for that. I may. Certified Doc and I might throw up the Switch, may go live with the Switch and play some of the new classic games that just came out.
Collab Gaming TV's doing a playthrough at some point tonight, right? I think I'm going to go live at some point today. I haven't figured out when or not, but I think we're all going to be around each other a little bit today, what it sounds like.
I'm going to be out all day. I got to go back to my old town, my old hood, for some meetings, some volunteer stuff that I do. So I'm going to be gone all day. So I will roll back in tonight. So it's unlikely that I'm going to stream tonight because I'm just going to be tired and roll back in and whatever. But I'll be watching. I'll see what people are playing tonight.
We'll play with Ray. We'll get some.
I will try to be there for Ray. Someone got me up early to do a stupid show, so
I'll be there, Ray.
But I want to thank everybody. I know this was early for a lot of the, so I appreciate Will being here.
Unannounced.
Hallie and unannounced. It was. I dropped a few hints on my stream last night. Dropped a few hints, but we'll get the promo out. We'll fix this up. Little logo. I AI'd the logo last night, so that might change. Hogwarts gets streamed soon, and not by me. Sierra will have a go at streaming the Hogwarts.
We're gonna be there if Sierra's streaming. Is this her first one? Is this like her debut game stream?
It very well might be.
She's done talks, right? But has she ever done gameplay?
I don't think so. She joins in every week to do the thing, and I've seen Joe play in the. I seen Joe. I popped in last night on my way to bed. Nice. I popped into Joe doing the Hogwarts. Wait a
second,
for a little bit.
Popped into Joe?
I did. I popped into Joe. Wow. I did, but I was heading to sleep, and then I got up to talk with Lo-Fi about UFOs. He's like, "Are you trolling? Are you trolling me?" I'm like, Lo-Fi, would I get up at 1 o'clock in the morning and come online just to tell you about this if it wasn't true?
Oh my gosh!
Oh, Joe's gonna be playing some more. Everyone's playing Hogwarts.
You see, Crow just stepped in. He woke up early for us.
Look at that. Crow Resin stepped in. Well, it's 7. It's 7, so it's not that early for him.
It's still early. It's earlier than you got up.
Yeah, it's true. I got up at 8:07. I'm like, crap! I gotta get up. The guy wants to do a show in less than an hour, and I gotta make myself look hot.
We got 3 dogs, and they just like startle or whatever. They breathe heavy. It's like 5:30 in the morning every morning. It's just eyes open, and it's like, all right, I guess I'm gonna get up.
That's why I have a cat. But thanks everybody for watching. We will be back next week. If you have interesting things you want us to talk about, send us a tweet and we will talk about it. Because nothing is off limits. Apparently UFOs are off limits, but anything else is not
off limits.
A few things off. A few things. But thanks for watching. I don't have an outro.
Absolutely. No worries. Hey, thank you guys.
I don't have an outro.
We'll be back.
Don't have an outro. Don't even have a.
How about we use this as an outro, Jeff? High five me. Which way?
All right.
Go this way. There you go. High five.
All right. See you guys on your streams today and this weekend. I'm just gonna hit end stream, I think.
Bye.